in the thick of autumn in the part of the world I live in, and it's a cold, brisk day. It's actually started to flurry and snow a little bit, so suddenly has turned into early winter weather. But I thought it might be interesting to talk about fall colors a little bit and the biochemistry, the phytochemistry behind that. For instance, when we look at this beautiful red maple leaf with its reddish and purplish hues to it, one of the things that a lot of you might already be familiar with is this time of year when the leaves change color, and we can see all the beautiful leaves down on the forest floor and these yellows behind me. The leaves are actually, of course, not turning color at all. What's happening is that the chlorophyll production is dropping off dramatically as the deciduous trees and shrubs get ready to go dormant for the winter time. And we start to see the biochemistry that's been in the leaves all along, but has been overpowered by all of the green chlorophyll. So we start to see the other constituents that were present all along. And when we see this kind of reddish hue, like we see in the red maple, one of the things we're actually seeing with our eyes are phenolic compounds, and that includes some constituents that are well known to herbalists, nutritionists, and others, such as, for instance, the flavonoids. And the phenolic compounds consist primarily of what's called a phenol as a unit, which is basically an aromatic ring, or sometimes called a benzene ring, with a hydroxyl group attached to it. So you can see the molecular structure there. And that structure actually has a lot to do with one of the nutritional and therapeutic benefits of consuming foods with high levels of flavonoids in them. Now, we're not going to eat maple leaves, but we are going to consume high levels of fruits and berries, blueberries, for instance, and other foods like that. And one of, not the only, but one of the real benefits we get from those foods and from the phenolic compounds that they contain is the tremendously high antioxidant activity. And it is actually this structure that is in large part responsible for that strong antioxidant activity. Basically, what you're seeing is that because of this hexagonal shape, this very tight alternating double and single bonds between the carbon atoms in this phenol unit, we have a sharing of electrons that allows phenolic antioxidants to basically lend an electron to a free radical that's causing oxidative damage, oxidative stress in the body, thereby neutralizing that free radical without becoming a free radical molecule itself. And that's a neat trick that these phenols can do, including flavonoids. And they are considered to be, by most evolutionary botanists, evolutionary biologists, to be some of the very first secondary compounds that plants began to produce in significant amounts as they moved from aquatic, mainly ocean-based, to terrestrial, because suddenly plants were exposed to far higher levels of ultraviolet radiation from the sun than they had been previously. And so they had to increase their antioxidant content to protect their own tissues, their own cells from that oxidative stress. Now, interestingly, when you look at something like these beautiful beech trees that are more dominated by yellow color, yellow and orange, often what we're seeing are another class of phytoconstituents entirely, which are carotenoids and xanthophylls, which are related. These are terpenes, not phenols. These are tetraterpenes, and they're very high in leafy greens, spinach and kale and broccoli, also pumpkins, appropriate for this time of year, squashes, things like that, and carrots, of course, which is where the word carotenoid comes from. So carotenoids and xanthophylls, which are longer chain molecules, they contain 40 carbons, 8 isoprene units for those of you who want to get into the biochemistry. So I'm not going to show you a diagram of that right now, standing here outside. But these are also powerful antioxidants. And one interesting thing about the xanthophylls, for example, like lutein, which you may have heard of, or zeaxanthin, which is closely related, is that these are molecules, constituents created by the plants to actually protect their leaf cells in the process of photosynthesis, because photosynthesis itself, of course, exposes the cells of a leaf to a large degree of oxidative stress from the ultraviolet radiation from the sun, which is the whole point of being a leaf and photosynthesizing, is you're taking in sun. But it also creates some challenges that the plant has to tackle and address, and that is largely through a strong, high antioxidant production. So xanthophylls and carotenoids, but xanthophylls even more so, specifically for the oxidative stress from taking in sunlight. What's interesting here is lutein and zeaxanthin are actually constituents that nutritionally and sometimes as supplements have been proven to be helpful in preventing and addressing age-related macular degeneration, which is what happens when our own organs, these, our eyes, that we humans have, that are designed to take in the sunlight and are, for that very same reason, exposed to a high level of oxidative stress. So the very same antioxidants that are helpful to maintain our ocular stress from oxidative damage from sunlight exposure are exactly what the plants themselves have created for the very same purpose.